I wanted to be a fighter pilot and join the Air Force.
And the flak was unbelievable. You couldn't even see the planes or anything else.
The co-pilot was unconscious and I was plastered on the ceiling.
I had been interrogated so many times, I would never let him get anything out of me.
Then when the bomb went off, all you saw on the plane was just like a bright flash.
Why did they die and not me?
We actually commandeered a Studebaker Champion, and my friend Johnny Voss and I drove by Pearl Harbor. And I actually saw the side of the Arizona blowout. It was horrible.
I wanted to be a fighter pilot and join the Air Force. But I couldn't join the Air Force because blacks could not volunteer for flight training.
And he turned around in such a way I could see the side of the airplane. And underneath that name was the most beautiful word I'd ever seen in my life, pilot. He is so-and-so, whatever he was, pilot. And I looked at that and I said, that's it. I don't care what happens, that's what I want to do, and I didn't. And I hear this voice, son? And I looked out the other end of that chain link fence and there was my dad. He had a elm tree switch at least 10 feet long, had it with him. And he walked up to me and said, how many times has your mother and I told you to stay away from this airport? This is not for you. They're not going to allow you to fly. So he said, you might as well get that out of your head.
You know, you learned, whether it was Army, Navy, or whatever it was, Army guys, you learn after you lost some people a new way. Like, well, after we lost a lot of planes, we learned that when you come in, you don't go like this. Huh? Because you give them a hell of a target. When you come in, you go like this. But we had to lose a lot of planes to find out.
The channel, we hardly got across the channel before they attack. And it's the most amazing attack I've ever seen. Just wave after wave, head on, just wave after wave of fighters. Thought it would never end. It was incredible, just incredible. It's a beautiful day. These people up here killing each other on this beautiful, sparkly winter day. It was incredible.
There were 2 engines knocked out. There was either a 20 or 30 millimeter shell came into the cockpit, and it hit our junction box, so all of our communication was severed. But with all the machine gun fire, and later a testimony to the discipline of the gunners, they shot down 4 fighters.
And I bailed out at about 32,000 feet. When I got home and talked to my mother, she told the story that one night, while they were asleep, that I appeared at the foot of her bed with a parachute draped over my arm and told her not to worry. And with that, she turned over, or so she said, and went back to sleep. And the next day, they received a telegram from the War Department that I was missing in action.
The unknown that you were concerned about, and then you were concerned about your own your own makeup. You know, how are you going to perform? Are you going to fight or are you going to run? You know, it was unknown. Did a lot of training, but you can't prepare for actual combat.
And I had been interrogated so many times, and all I would ever say to that man was name, rank, and serial number. That's all I would say. I opened my POW book, and here are the dog tags. This is my Air Force dog tag with an H in the corner for Hebrew, and here is Stalag dog tag with the number on me.
He went down, I immediately went down to the left, and his left wingtip hit my right horizontal stabilizer and tore it off, all 18 feet of it. So the plane went into a vertical dive over the target, and we lost about 7,000 feet. The crew was scattered all over the plane. They couldn't get out. We'd have gotten out if we could have. They would have gotten out if they could have. Centrifugal force was keeping them in. The co-pilot was unconscious, and I was plastered on the ceiling.
And I saw their shadows on the ground and dove down on them, and I got 2 of them, and my wingman got the 3rd one.
We had this terrible mission. We lost 39 B-26s in one day. We'd never lost more than 13 at any one day out of 300 or 400.
And all of a sudden the sky just opened up, boom, 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 boom.
Give it a squirt and hit him right in the wingwort. He burst into flames and down he went. When a horrendous explosion blew up right under me and tipped me up,
Well, there's no worse sight in the world than seeing these planes go into these black clouds of flak and then see them spinning back out of there, and you know that in each one going down that there were 10 men involved in this thing.
Isn't it fantastic that a bunch of greenhorns go over there and turn the war around on those professionals? Men who have been raised to seek peace, a nation, peace-loving, peace-seeking people. It's a hard chore to turn him around. Well, they did a pretty good job at Pearl Harbor.
We were about 11 miles away when the bomb exploded. And then the shock waves gradually caught up with us. And when the first shock wave hit us, why, one of the 3 of us, either Tibbetts, Farabee, or I, and I know it wasn't me, called out flak. Felt just like a very close flak burst under the wing. And the tail gunner called and says it wasn't flak, it was a shock wave, and here comes another one. The bomb set up visible shock waves.
My father was a World War II veteran. He flew 41 combat missions in Germany with the 8th Air Force. There was always people coming over to the house. There were his friends. They were all in the pilots, crews, Navy, Army, Air Force. They were always sharing these stories. And I would just be sitting there listening, absorbing it all. And it was an amazing experience.
I've always loved flying, but it's a heavy deal.
It is with a deep sense of pride that I'm able to present these valiant stories of the pilots and crews who served in World War II and beyond. I intend to tell this story in a way that no one ever has before. The personal side, the sacrifices, the anguish. It's not always easy doing this work. You're right along in that mission. You're suffering that fear, that pain right along with them. And it's powerful work. I've been able to garner the trust of veterans from all over the world, and I've developed these long-standing friendships. And these friendships are very important to me, and these people have allowed me into their families. I've stayed at their homes. I've met these valiant heroes, and they know that I'll stay the course in the best interest of their legacy and their families and their grandchildren. It's my responsibility, and I take that very seriously. When you go home tonight, I want you to remember this. When you wake up and you start your new day, there will be close to 2,000 World War II veterans who will not see the early light of the dawn of another day. The window of time is closing on this generation, and it is very relevant that these valiant American treasures are honored and remembered. It is our duty as American citizens to preserve their legacies.